but I'm fed up with people using the word discovery. Like they want to do discovery for everything. And all the discoveries take like 3 months, 4 months to think that we already know.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Product Experience. This week, we talk to Sao Paulo-based product consultant Joca Torres all about product culture in a digital transformation. Watch or listen on to learn how Joca used 4 key principles with great results during his time at Gympass, so much so that they're used as a case study in Marty Cagan's book Transformed.
Joca, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So you are famous in our industry, or, as famous as product people get, in that you are actually featured in a chapter in Marty Cagan's latest book. Before we get into that, and we will get to that, can you just give us a little bit of a history? What are you doing these days? How'd you get into product in the first place?
Sure. So I'm currently acting as a product consultant for product management and product development teams in both small startups up to big companies, and helping them with their transformation into the product model. And prior to that, I started this in 2022. And prior to that, I had my whole life doing product management, from my own company to internet service provider, ERPs, corporate benefits, and more recently, a real estate company that wanted to transform into the digital way of doing things.
And you've written a book on product culture and digital transformation. I think yours actually came out before Marty's did, but you're featured in Marty. So can you just tell us a little bit of the history tell us the title of the book and the subject, but also tell us about what Marty featured you about. It's your work at Gympass.
That's right. So my book is called Digital Transformation and Product Culture, because I believe having a product culture is a key factor for successful transformations. And in this book, I tell about my experience at Gympass, as well as Lopes, this real estate company I mentioned. And Gympass, even though it is a VC-backed startup here in Brazil that currently is quite big. They have like 1,500 people already in many different countries. They have in Brazil, in Europe, in the US, Mexico. And they are a corporate benefit company. They provide a corporate benefit so companies can offer to their employees access to a network of gyms and studios. And I joined them in 2018 to be their CPO. And what was interesting is that the company was already in a good size. They had already 800 people, but the product development team, product managers, product designers, and product engineers, the group was only 30 people to a company that was 800 people. So very not in sync with the needs of the company. So I joined the company to increase the team in order to automate many of the manual tasks that they did. Whenever they sell to a new company, the company sent a list of employees, and all the processing of this list was done manually. So all of this automation needed to be automatized in some way. So that's my initial mission when I joined Gympass.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you don't normally hear about companies needing digital transformation when they're quite young companies. So are there other digital transformations in other companies that you've also witnessed? And have you taken the same approach to those companies as well, or has it been a different approach?
Yeah, that's a good question, Lily, because prior to Gympass, I always lived in companies that were, I like to call them digital, because the product they sell is a digital product, like internet service provider or ERP. They sell the product that is built by the product management, the product development team. When I arrived at Gympass, even though they were VC backed and by VCs that are already in the technology space, like SoftBank, GA, General Atlantic, the founders came from consulting companies. They didn't have enough digital experience, digital expertise. So I believe because of that, the company decided to solve everything with what they call the operations team. that were doing everything by hand, like Wizard of Oz, the typical Wizard of Oz, which is okay for a small company. But when the company grows to 800 people, it doesn't make any sense at all. You need to automate things. So that's why I normally call this as a digital transformation. Even though the company is within the tech scenario, it is a digital transformation because they needed to implement a lot of the principles of a digital culture, a product culture. And what is interesting is that at Gympass, the product that is sold is a corporate benefit. It's something that can be sell without technology, but technology obviously potentializes a lot. So then I started to realize, because all my previous experience was in digital companies, the product developer was by the product development team, was the product sold by the sales team. I started to realize that the world doesn't revolve around technology. There are other things besides technology. And that's actually the motivation when I received this invitation from Lopes, which is, as I mentioned, one of the biggest real estate companies here in Brazil. They are very traditional companies. They are 19 years old, 90 years old. And they were facing a fierce competition from strong startups in the real estate scenario here in Brazil. One called Loft, another one called Quinto Andar. And they said, whoa, we need to do a transformation. We need to apply digital in order to transform. And then I joined them. I received their invitation. I joined them to lead their digital transformation. So both of them, both Gympass and Lopes, I consider digital transformations, but with different scenarios. One more inside the tech scenario with tech VCs behind them. And the other one, a very traditional company, like 90 years old, family business, already from the third to the fourth generation, and already listed a public company. And very, very interesting challenge, very different scenarios. But to answer your question, the principles that I used in both of them were the same. The four principles of the product culture. And not only that, when we talk about digital transformation or transformation in general, it's about changing behaviors, changing the way people do things. And you don't change behaviors by decree. The best way to change behaviors is through results. You need to show actual results solving the customer problem and generating results to the company. And then you are allowed to tell about how you did it. So the principle behind it.
Joca, you just mentioned delivering results as being really important. Let's actually jump back a tiny bit. You said in your book, you talk about four major principles. So let's just run through those principles at a high level, and then we'll go into them. So can you just tell us what the four major principles for a good transformation are?
Sure. So the first one is deliver early and often, because all the other three principles doesn't make any sense if you are delivering software like once a month, once every 2 months, or even longer. You need to be delivering at least weekly, ideally every day, ideally multiple times a day. So you're able to run tests and test hypotheses, run proofs of concepts, and so on. The second one is about focus on the problem. We tend to get very attached to solutions. But if we understand better the problem and we do some experiments on possible solutions, we should not fall in love with one specific solution. But we test different solutions for that problem. We are able to find better solutions. And the third one is delivering results. We need to deliver results because even though we are in a product podcast, I'm a product consultant. I don't wake up, and we shouldn't wake up to build products. We should wake up to solve our customer problems, delivering results to our company by making products, making features, and things like that. So it's a means to an end. It's not an end per se. And the last one is what I call the ecosystem mindset. What is it? It's a type of client focus 2.0 because everybody talks about being focused on the client, but we need to understand that the majority of the cases we have more than one type of client. For instance, at Gympass, we had the HRs of our clients, our B2B clients. We have the employees, which is a relationship more type of B2C. And we had the gyms and the apps that were partners. So it's three types of clients, and we need to deliver product to all of them in order to solve their problems and in order to make them more valuable to the platform, to the network that we're creating. So those are the four.
Just starting at the last one first, because that's the kind of person I am. With that ecosystem mindset, so you talked about sort of like different types of customers, at Gympass, you've got the gyms and then the people buying the licenses, I guess, for their employees. Do you think about it in terms of like, as a product team, do you think about it in terms of that ecosystem extending to within the business as well? So, you've got as a product team, you are serving also your marketing team and your sales team and things like that.
Yeah. The marketing, sales, and customer support and operations, all of the teams, they are very important inputs to the product development team. But we need to look to the client always, because if we hear what comes from the sales team or from the marketing team or from the customer support team and only listen to them, it's biased, because sales want to sell. So they will bring whatever they want to see in the product in order to sell. Customer support will bring whatever they want to see in order to have the customer not calling them anymore. So we need to be careful with that. It's good input, but should never be the only input that the product management and a product development team hears. They need to go to the client, and they need to hear from the client what are the problems, what is the motivation that the client has to have that problem solved. And so this is critical. Have unfiltered input directly from the client.
And where do you see teams going wrong here? Is it that they're just not talking to the customers or the different types of clients, or is it that they're talking to them but they're not really listening properly, or they're not really getting, I guess, kind of understanding properly what the customer is trying to say?
Well, one is the one you said, it is not talking to the customer, just hearing from other areas of the company. But that's a very common one. But another one in the ecosystem mindset is paying attention to one type of customer way more than the other. Just to give you an example, I mentioned that we had, when I joined Gympass, we had a team of 30 people. And of those 30 people, like 26 were focused on the employee, on delivering the app to the employee so the employee could use Gympass. There was no one focused on HR, and there was like 2 or 3 people focused on gyms. And in terms of gyms, only integrating whatever the partnership managers were closing in terms of deals of new partners. So it's a very unbalanced team in terms of focus, because everybody's focused on the B2C. That normally is the sexiest part of a product. So they are focused on the B2C. But one of the first things that I did when I joined Gympass is, listen, this is unbalanced. We need to create a proper team to focus on the needs of the HR, and another one to focus on the needs of the gyms besides the integration, because the gyms want to know how many clients went to my facilities, how much I will earn by the end of the month. So all of this need to be taken care of by the product development team. So when I talk about ecosystem mindset, I'm talking about this, having a good understanding of who are the clients and what are their needs, and having your team well structured to be able to build solutions for all of them.
That leads us really nicely into the next principle about delivering results and not products. So you set up the teams for these things, and obviously the first thing they're going to do is think about what should we build. Maybe that, not obviously, maybe they should be thinking about what results they should be doing. We've recently had a couple of conversations with Dave Washa and Matt LeMay about the idea that people focus on product theater, on doing products the right way rather than delivering the impact, and it's causing problems, and it's getting to a bit of a reckoning, and companies are getting wise to this now. And I'm curious from your perspective, how do you see this? Why do people focus on products rather than results sometimes?
Yeah, this is the very traditional way of working that business demands and IT implements. It's somewhat comfortable place to be if you are in IT. I'm doing what I've been told to, and if it works or not, it's not my problem. It's someone else's problem. It's a way for you to get away with the responsibility. When you are a real product manager and a real product development team, you are responsible for the results. And in order to be responsible for the results, you need to understand the client. You need to understand the problems they have. You need to understand the motivation that they have to solve that problem. And it's very, very important. It's a change of the way of working, instead of being passive, receiving demands from sales, from customer support, or from the founder, you go there and talk to the client, understand what's the problem the client has. And on the other side, you talk within the company, what type of results are expected. This is important. When we talk about product management, is an equation with three parts. We are solving problems to the client through technology in a way that generates results to the company. Sometimes we forget this third part. We know that it's technology. We know that we are solving problems to our clients, but we forget that we need to generate results to the company. So that's the equation that we need to take into consideration when we are building a product, when we are defining the objectives that this particular team needs to tackle.
And with the product managers that you have worked with, like, what is it that's really stopping people from getting this part of product management and from focusing on the results? Like, I imagine you have some pretty smart product people working on the real estate product at Gympass. So are they getting it right? And then you've just seen that other people in other organizations aren't getting it right, or are even the good ones getting it wrong sometimes? Like, what is it that's kind of going wrong?
Yeah, normally what happens is that the company culture, and again, we go back to the culture topic, is that the business demands and IT implements. And to break that cycle, it's quite difficult. I remember talking to Randy about a very interesting example when the partnership manager, they came to us. He just finished closing a deal with a very, very important gym. And he came to us and listened, hey, the gym asked us to change the entire check-in process because he needed to have certain data, which is very, very important to him. And you need to change it. And we say, but we cannot change it to one specific gym in detriment to all the others. The experience in the product will be very, very awful. Can we talk to the gym and understand better the problem and understand why they need it solved? And then we schedule a meeting together with the gym manager and also from the gym, a legal person, from someone from the legal part. And they said to us, hey, listen, this is just a suggestion. We just need whoever enters our gym to sign a waiver of responsibility to do activities in our gym. That's what we need. Oh, okay. So you don't need all of these changes in the check-in process. I mean, if we just show whenever the person wants to do a check-in in your facilities, we show, hey, listen, by doing the check-in in this facility, you are agreeing with this terms and condition, with this waiver. Is that okay for you? Oh, they said it's fine. It works for us. And then we turn the computer and shows that, oh, if that's it, it's already implemented because this was a setup field that we can change. So this is how we show a different way of working. And after that, all the account managers from Gympass, they started to bring the demands from new clients and new partners saying, hey, listen, this is what the client asked, but I'm not sure if this is the best solution. I recommend that you talk to them and understand better their problem, because understanding the problem, we are able to figure out ways to solve the problem way faster. Maybe it's already implemented in the product somehow. So yeah, that's how we change our way of working, by showing that others' way of working can deliver results the same way or even better.
Yeah, it sounds like that's something that some people solve that by having product get involved in pre-sales. Some people have it that solve that by educating the sales team a little bit more and things. But it's a really good example of how things get lost in translation. Somebody asks for something and it gets communicated as something completely different, a much bigger need, or this is the only way to do it, and they need this rather than they'd like something. And it's going back to, asking the why and having the relationships and the permission to be able to ask those questions, isn't it?
Exactly. That's the point. You nailed it. It's lost in translation because you need to hear directly from the client. It's okay for the team inside the company to bring you demands, but you need to go talk to the client and hear directly from them. Hear from them what is the problem and what is the motivation for the problem to be solved.
Okay, so I think we've covered focusing on the problem, not the solution with that one. So there's one more principle about deliver early and often. And I'm curious about this because there are some companies I've worked with, some organizations I've worked with that have a real issue with this. It's not that they don't want to, it's that they work on things like tax or on things with education, and certain things only happen, there are events that happen seasonally, once or twice a year. So when you're in that type of situation, how do you iterate on a regular basis? How do you give an example? How do you prove that you're working quickly and innovating when you're only able to actually run a proper test, maybe once or twice a year?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, even though there is a specific date when things happen, you need to test your solution prior to that. You cannot do a big bang in 6 months or 1 year. You need to be able to present your solution to real customers and understand if it makes sense to them. And not only that, Brandy, one important aspect when I talk about delivering early and often, I'm talking not only about delivering software, delivering product, but also the discovery. The discovery needs to be fast as well. And like I heard, sometimes I go visit, starting to talk with a new client, and they open the discussion like this. You know what, Joca? I understand you're a product consultant and all of that, but I'm fed up with people using the word discovery. They want to do discovery for everything. And all the discoveries take 3 months, 4 months to things that we already know. And when I talk about delivering early and often, it's not only about delivering the software, but also doing the discovery faster, already gathering all the information that the company already has about the problem and the persona, the client that has the problem, and be able to iterate on solutions. There is a very important part of the product development cycle, because we talk a lot about discovery, about delivery, but we should not forget that discovery has the problem discovery side, which is normally the easy side of discovery, but there is the other side, which is the solution discovery. And the solution discovery is really, really important. And normally, one of the main reasons for products to fail is when they jump from the problem discovery directly to delivery. They do a problem discovery and they feel, oh, that's the problem. So let's solve it with, I don't know, an app. And then they go build the app. And the first idea that we have is not the best one. So this discovery solution is critical in order for us to find the best solution. And I would even say more. When we talk about innovation, we as product development teams, we want to innovate. That's one of our main focus. And the thing is, innovation doesn't happen either in the problem discovery nor in the delivery. Innovation only happens in the solution discovery when we make a list of possible solutions, possible ideas, test them, and figure out the one that is best to solve the issue. There is another example that I really like to give about this. It's not a cyclical type of thing, but when I joined Lopez, they were building an MVP, and I put it in quotes, an MVP of agent app, an app for the agents. And the main problem to be solved is to make the lead. The lead is the information of a person interested in a property, to make the lead go as fast as possible to the agent, because the faster it goes to the agent, the quicker the agent replies, and the bigger the chances to evolve to a visit to a property and eventually to closing a deal. So that's all the reason behind. And they had the first idea that came to mind is, let's do an app with push notification. And then they started to do discovery. And during the discovery, they figure out that the agent normally asks the data of the person and register the data of the person in the database. After that, the agent search for additional properties, because it's known that if you send like 2 or 3 property options, the chances of scheduling a visit increases. So all of that became part of the context of the app, and the app goes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we had a 1 year MVP, right? Like 5 months of discovery plus 7 months of delivery. And then when we were discussing, I said to them, hey, listen, this is not an MVP. This is way different than an MVP. An MVP would be an app with only push notification. All the rest, let the agent do the way she's used to do. Probably she solves this somehow in an old way. And I said to them, and not even that, we may not even need to build an app. We could send a WhatsApp or an SMS notification, and all of them opened their eyes, got, whoa, that's right. And then I talked to the engineering team, and the engineering team was able to build an SMS notifier like in 10 days. So they were waiting for 1 year for a solution, and in 10 days, it was a solution. So this is a good example of delivering an offer, focus on the problem, understanding the problem right, and solving the right problem. So yeah, that's I like this example because it illustrates many of the principles.
Yeah, I think it's a really important example. And I feel like a lot of the digital transformations that happen, there's an expectation that an increase in pace will come with that digital transformation. How do you increase pace, or is an increase in pace guaranteed as part of a digital transformation? Like, what's the sort of secret sauce, I guess, to getting to those results faster?
Again, Lily, it's a change of mindset. It's a change of how we understand and work on situations. So another example, there's a client of mine. He's an ERP of a specific segment, and being an ERP, they have a lot of the transactions of what their clients acquire. So they decided to build a marketplace because they know everything that happens, and it makes sense to them to go diversify their portfolio and add a marketplace to that. And they were starting to build a business plan, a project. They were planning to have the first version by the end of the year. They were already quoting with suppliers of e-commerce platforms. And I said to them, but listen, well, you already know that the transactions go. And what is your main fear, your main risk, your main concern about building this marketplace? And he said to me, I need to present a better purchase experience to my clients. That's what I need to do. And then I said to him, listen, you don't need to build everything and to test only this. You can build just the front end, just have good product designers, user experience designers, build a nice prototype, and you present to, 2, 3 clients and see how they work with it. You can even do a Wizard of Oz behind and make the purchases for him, for the clients, and then you can test the idea. And this you can build like in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. He said, oh, that's exactly it. So this is a change of mindset prior to everything else. You need to change the way you look into problems and the way you solve problems. It's not big problems, but you need to slice it into the main risk points, the main questions that you have, the main doubts that you have, and try to solve for that specific issue.
So this goes into an interesting thing, because the last few minutes we've been talking about things that are skills, but they're not really skills. They're more a mindset. It's more about how the company works. And your book is about digital transformation and product culture. But is product culture just for the product team? What is a good product culture for a company?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, because those principles I've been working with them since my time at Local Web, and when I joined Gympass, Lopez, those principles already clear to me, and it made a lot of sense to the entire team. And then we presented to the HR of the company, and the company said, "Hey, listen, we need to bring these principles to the entire company because they make sense to the entire company. The entire company should be focused on delivering early and often, should be focused on understanding better the problem, should be focused on delivering results, should be focused on understanding that we have, for instance, in real estate, we have the agent, we have the buyer, we have the seller. So we have an ecosystem, and we need to pay attention to the needs of all of them. So yeah, at the end, this product culture eventually can be incorporated within the company culture. Maybe the company culture has other principles as well, but the four of them makes a lot of sense to be in the company culture as well.
And when you're advising companies on product and how to improve their sort of product operations and their product culture, where do you see people kind of going wrong? Like, what mistakes are they making if they're trying to improve things and get better? Where is it sort of like not working at the moment?
Yeah, part of it is what we already discussed, the business demands and IT implements. Part of it is the team thinking big, always thinking in terms of big deliveries and not able to slice it and test only the important things first. Those are the two main ones that I see, the two main blockers that I see for adopting the product culture. And one interesting thing that I see, that many people want to be empowered, but they don't understand exactly what is to be empowered, the product development team. And sometimes when they realize that they are actually empowered, they have responsibility to defining what they will build and to delivering the result, then they get a bit afraid. Some of them get a bit uncomfortable, and they decided to move somewhere else where they receive the demands. And so it's not for everybody. It's a way of work for people that want to take the responsibility in their hands, not only for delivering something, but delivering actual results that solve the problem to the client and generate the result to the company. It's a different type of responsibility that you have, right?
Yeah, Joca, that's an easy one to say, and it's one that makes sense when you've worked in that kind of environment where you've already got relationships with people, where you've proven things. But when you're transforming a company, a lot of times there is, quote unquote, the business, and then products being part of IT. And there's a relationship and a hierarchy that's been established. Now you're trying to change that. What are the things that you want to put in place? How do you actually start to shift that culture? Obviously, building trust, delivering some things, showing understanding of goals are key things, but there's usually more to it than that. And what are some of your secrets?
First thing, it's important to say this will never happen if there is no C-level sponsorship. This is crucial. The C-level needs to sponsor this transformation. They need to want this. I've worked with companies that the C-level was not that motivated, and we were unable to move anything. So the C-level, the buy-in, and not only the buy-in, the sponsorship of the C-level, it's very important. Sometimes the C-level doesn't know exactly what they are buying, but they understand that putting technology, putting the digital as a central part of their strategy is really key. So this is one. And the second one is, as I mentioned earlier, we don't change the way of working by decree. So from now on, we're going to deliver early and often. From now on, we're going to focus on the problem. No, that's not how we do. We can even say that, but we need to do it. We need to work by those principles and present results, because the language that all companies understand are the language of results. If you talk results, then you can show people how you achieve those results. So you need to talk results. You need to deliver results. And doing that using the principles, then you can say, hey, listen, you know that the app with push notification, then we change to SMS notification. That's because we have this mindset of delivering early, delivering often, and being focused on the problem. That's what's behind that way of solving that problem. You know, that other issue about the gym and changing all the checking process. This is, again, focus on the problem and delivering results, because we want the gym as fast as possible in our network. So that's how you change a culture, by doing things in this new way of doing things, generating results. And when you talk about the results you generate, the language that the company understands, then you can talk about how you did it.
Joca, I think this has been incredible advice, and I look forward to all of our listeners hearing it and seeing the impact in their own work on a daily basis, because I think that it is, is fundamentally how to do product management really, really well. You don't need to read all the books. You just need to focus on the results, like you say.
That's right. Exactly.
Or just Joca's book.
Yeah.
There you go.
But thank you so much for joining us. It's been really great.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed our conversation.
The Product Experience hosts are me, Lily Smith, host by night and Chief Product Officer by day.
And me, Randy Silver, also host by night. And I spend my days working with product and leadership teams, helping their teams to do amazing work.
Luran Pratt is our producer, and Luke Smith is our editor.
And our theme music is from product community legend Arnie Kittler's band, POW. Thanks to them for letting us use their track.